All right, our last section of the year, translating English to algebra. And if I sit down with a kid and advise, and we talk about math, and they say, "Oh, I'm not really good at math," and then they can work, "I don't like math," and as the conversation progresses, we find out that it's not just math. Okay. Secondly, they don't like fractions, but firstly, inevitably you get this problem. Why do I care when a train leaves New York headed for LA and a train leaves LA headed for New York? Their speeds are different, their times are, it's a word problem. Word problems seem to cause the most problems. And I do this in class as well. If you don't believe me, and I do this in class, like I said, I offer every one of my kids, and of course this is the last of my class, so this is the end of the year, I offer them a passing grade if they can pass a simple spelling word, a spelling um, bee. And so I said, how many of you are interested if I give you a spelling test? If you get it right, you get an A in class. If you get it wrong, you get an F. And not very many hands go up. And I tell them then, this is a word that you use every day in life. Um, I get a couple hands up, and still I have some non-believers, and the hands go down. And then I tell them, this word that you use every day in life is no more than 3 letters long. And all of a sudden, I start to get some kids, this is a word less than 3 letters. I no more than 3 letters that I use every day in life. Yeah, sure, I'm in. And then I tell them the word is two, and then they want to know more information. And I tell them that's not the you've already bought in. We're taking a spelling quiz, clear your desk, and they get panicked because the word two is spelled 3 different ways depending on what you're talking about. If I go to the store, T-O, you want to go to, it's T-O-O, and that makes two of us, then that's T-W-O. So now all of a sudden you went from I know what the answer is to I got a 1 in 3 chance of passing this test. So really the English is quite difficult. But here again, we're not trying to fool anybody, but yeah, it is a little bit more difficult. So we have to understand what we're talking about, what's going on, and really kind of dive into our problems. All right. With that being said, let's go ahead. I've got 3 problems here, and we're going to look at each one of them. Okay. Harry weighs 34 pounds more than Rita. Use H for Harry's weight and R for Rita's weight. So all we're trying to do is get an understanding of what this paragraph is talking about, what this statement talks about. Well, Harry's fatter. He's bigger. He don't know fat, but he's bigger because it says he weighs more than Rita. So it should make sense that Harry is more than Rita. Okay. H for Harry's weight, R for Rita's weight. Well, that's great. Okay. So when we take a look at this, let me come back here and get a pen. I've got Harry and I've got Rita. So Harry weighs or is 34 pounds more than Rita. Is Rita plus 34? Well, think about this for a second, right? Because if Harry weighs more than Rita, we have to add Rita's weight, whatever Rita weighs, we don't know what it is, 34 pounds to her, and now she's equal. So let's just say, right, hypothetically, that Rita is 100 pounds. Okay. If I plug R back in, Rita's 100 pounds. Therefore, Harry is 100 plus 34, which means hypothetically, it doesn't say this anywhere up here. I'm just making this up. Harry is 134 pounds, right? Hey, does Harry weigh more than Rita? Well, we kind of established that. Is it by 34 pounds? It is. All of a sudden now I know that this equation is correct. And now I can go ahead and solve things based on some other information that they didn't give us. But right now all we're doing is translating from English to math. So this is really all I'm looking for. This is kind of a hypothetical. I just kind of, what we talked about earlier, does it actually ring true? Well, yeah, it kind of does. Okay, and that's what we're trying to get out of a word problem. Can I put it down into math to where it makes sense when I come out with the numbers I'm supposed to come out with? Okay, let's try another one. Length of a rectangle 7 meters longer than double the width. Use L for length. Okay, I always like to draw a picture. It doesn't have to be perfect. That's an I do drawing wise is perfect. It's not quite a Picasso. Okay, we always call this the length, right? The longest side and the width. Well, in this case, I'm looking for pretty much in any case, what don't they tell me? Okay, well, they tell me the length is such and such. Okay, that's fine. But what you don't say speaks more in volume than what you do say, 9 times out of 10. So I really don't care. I'm looking for W. So my length in relationship to my W is 7 meters longer than double the width. So 7 meters longer, more than double my width. All right. So let's just hypothetically again, right? Over here in this cloud of dust, say that my width is 10 meters. So what's my length? My length should be longer, typically is. Okay. So if I plug in 10, I get 20 plus 7 is 27 meters. Is the length actually twice my width and 7 more? Twice or double the width, 2 times 10 is 20, and 7 more still has that difference of 7 that we're missing, so we have to catch back up there. So hypothetically, my numbers work out to exactly how I plug stuff in. Okay, and when we're talking from word problems, I have to see your work as far as what words mean to do what operation. So I have to have what I call a working equation here. So that's what we're kind of getting prepped for. Here's one that's got a little bit more bite to it. Luis made $28 more in tips than Kate on one Friday night. Kate made, that's supposed to be a D, not T. Brenda made $15 less than Kate. Use the letter K. Well, they already tipped us. Use K. Why do we use K? Because they don't tell us anything about Kate. So Kate, in this case, is K. So now we have Luis, right? And then we have Brenda. All right, so what did Luis make? Well, Luis made 28 more in tips than Kate, so he should have made more money. So how do we write that in relationship to K? Well, you take what Kate had, you add 28 to it, and you should get what Luis makes. Brenda, on the other hand, makes $15 less than Kate. Okay, so we're trying to relate Brenda to Kate. She made less money. So how much? How do I write that? Well, I've got to subtract whatever Kate makes. I got to subtract 15 from it. Okay, so hypothetically, right? And when we get into real word problems, we're not just translating. It's hypothetical. There'll be a couple more clues, and we'll be able to figure that out. But hypothetically, let's just say that Kate made $100 in tips. She had a good night. Okay, Luis should have made more, right? Made 20 more in tips. So 100 plus 28 should be 128. And he did. He made more than she did by, imagine that, $28. Okay, Brenda, though, made less than Kate. So 100 minus 15, here's Brenda, made 15 less, which is $85. Less than, that's a dollar sign. That didn't turn out very well. Okay, but made $85, which is less than Kate by, you guessed it, $15. So I know this is just hypothetical, what we kind of made up, but it does make sense on what we were kind of assuming. Okay, so we basically made an educated guess. We wrote down some stuff. We checked our answers, and our answers corresponded with what our guess, our well-educated guess was. So it's a pretty good assumption that these would be correct and to use when we started doing word problems. Here again, word problems can be frustrating. My recommendation to you is try, struggle, cry a little bit if you have to, set it down for about 5 minutes, set a timer, and then come back to it in 5 minutes. Because if you don't get back to it in 5 minutes, you don't ever come back to it. And this is null and void, all the work that you've done. So good luck. Have fun with the struggle. Remember, it's for a purpose.